You stop eating sugar for 7 days. No desserts, no sweet snacks, no, just a little bit after dinner. At first, it feels harmless, almost too simple. But inside your body, something far more dramatic begins to unfold. Your liver, which has been quietly overloaded for years, suddenly loses its main source of stress. Your insulin no longer spikes the way it used to. And visceral fat, the most dangerous fat in your body, starts receiving a very different signal. Here is the surprising part. The biggest changes do not happen on the scale. They happen in the liver first. Most people believe sugar only affects weight. In reality, sugar rewires how your liver stores energy, how insulin behaves, and how stubborn belly fat becomes. In this video, you will learn what really happens inside your body during 7 days without sugar, why the liver reacts before the mirror does, and how this short experiment can reveal whether your belly fat is being protected or slowly released. Because sugar does not just add calories, it changes the rules your metabolism lives by. For many people, sugar feels unavoidable. It hides in breakfast foods, it sneaks into sauces, bread, and drinks, and it often appears right when energy is lowest and stress is highest. So when you hear 7 days without sugar, it sounds extreme, unrealistic, even unnecessary. After all, you might not even eat that much sugar, at least not consciously. Yet this is exactly where the misunderstanding begins. Sugar does not need to be excessive to cause damage. It only needs to be frequent. Small doses, repeated daily, train the liver to stay in storage mode. And when the liver is busy storing, fat burning slows everywhere else. This is why many people experience a strange contradiction. They eat fewer calories. They reduce fat. They try fasting. But their belly remains stubborn, and blood markers quietly worsen over time. The issue is not discipline. It is metabolic traffic. Your liver sits at the center of this traffic. It decides whether incoming energy is burned, stored as glycogen, or converted into fat. Sugar, especially fructose, overwhelms this system because it bypasses many of the normal controls. Over years, this creates a silent problem: fatty liver and insulin resistance, even in people who are not visibly overweight. Visceral fat thrives in this environment. It is closely connected to liver health and reacts quickly to insulin signals. When insulin is frequently elevated, visceral fat grows and refuses to leave. This is why removing sugar, even temporarily, creates such noticeable internal shifts. The body finally experiences clarity. Insulin spikes soften. The liver gets breathing room. Fat storage signals weaken. 7 days is not a miracle cure, but it is long enough to reveal how deeply sugar has been influencing your metabolism. In the next part, you will see what happens inside your body day by day once sugar disappears, and why the liver is the first organ to respond. To understand what happens during 7 days without sugar, you need to look at the liver first, not the scale. Sugar is unique. Unlike glucose from whole foods, fructose is processed almost entirely by the liver. It cannot be used directly by muscle or brain. The liver must decide what to do with it. When sugar is frequent, the liver has only one option: convert excess fructose into fat. This fat is stored inside the liver itself and exported into visceral fat around the organs. Now imagine what happens when sugar suddenly disappears. Day 1 to 2. The withdrawal phase. During the first 1 to 2 days, the body notices the absence immediately. Insulin spikes become smaller. Blood sugar swings calm down, but the brain reacts with discomfort. Cravings increase. Headaches may appear. Energy feels uneven. This is not hunger. It is the nervous system recalibrating after constant stimulation. The liver is still releasing stored sugar and fat. Nothing dramatic happens yet, but the pressure begins to ease. Day 3-4. The liver switches roles. By the 3rd day, liver glycogen starts stabilizing without constant refilling. Fructose is no longer entering the system. This is the turning point. The liver reduces fat production. Insulin sensitivity improves. Inflammatory signals decrease. Visceral fat begins receiving weaker storage signals. Not because fat is burning aggressively, but because the command to keep storing is fading. Many people notice something subtle here. Less bloating, a flatter abdomen in the morning, clearer thinking. Day 5 to 6. Insulin becomes quieter. As insulin exposure decreases, fat cells start responding differently. Visceral fat is especially sensitive to insulin. When insulin stays lower for longer, fat cells slowly release stored fatty acids. This process is quiet. There is no sudden weight drop. But internally, fat traffic changes direction. The body is no longer focused on storage. It is shifting toward regulation. Day 7. Metabolic clarity. By the 7th day, the liver is no longer overwhelmed. Fat accumulation slows. Insulin responses normalize further. The body begins trusting that energy is stable without constant sugar input. This is why 7 days without sugar often feels revealing. Not because everything is fixed, but because the fog lifts. You can finally see how much sugar was influencing hunger, belly fat, and energy regulation. The liver does not heal overnight. Visceral fat does not disappear in a week. But the direction changes. And once the direction changes, fat loss becomes possible again. Next, the question becomes practical. How to remove sugar without creating stress, and which forms of hidden sugar matter the most. Removing sugar only helps if it lowers stress instead of creating more of it. Many people fail this experiment not because sugar is essential, but because they remove it the wrong way. The body interprets chaos as danger, and danger blocks fat loss. Here is how to approach 7 days without sugar in a way that actually benefits the liver and visceral fat. Remove obvious sugar first, not everything at once. Start with what creates the strongest insulin response: desserts, sugary drinks, sweet snacks between meals. Trying to eliminate every trace of sugar on day 1 often triggers stress and binge behavior. The liver responds best to reduction, not shock. Watch liquid sugar carefully. Liquid sugar is the fastest way to overload the liver. Fruit juice, sweetened coffee drinks, smoothies with added sweeteners. Even natural sugar in liquid form bypasses normal digestion and goes straight to the liver. Removing liquid sugar alone often produces noticeable changes within days. Replace sugar with stability, not substitutes. Artificial sweeteners keep the brain expecting sugar. This maintains cravings and can still stimulate insulin in some people. Instead, focus on meals that stabilize blood sugar, protein, fiber, and healthy fats. When blood sugar is stable, cravings quiet down naturally. Eat enough during meals. Undereating increases cortisol. Cortisol raises blood sugar. Blood sugar raises insulin. This defeats the entire purpose. Removing sugar works best when meals feel satisfying. Hunger driven by stress sends the wrong signal to the liver and fat tissue. Use sleep as a metabolic amplifier. Sleep is when the liver recovers and insulin sensitivity improves. Late nights, alcohol, and poor sleep blunt the benefits of removing sugar. 7 days without sugar combined with poor sleep often produces disappointing results. When sleep improves, sugar cravings weaken automatically. This approach is not about discipline. It is about clarity. When sugar is removed without creating stress, the liver begins to regulate instead of defend. And visceral fat responds to regulation faster than to restriction. 7 days without sugar is not a detox and not a cure. If you have diabetes, liver disease, or are taking medication that affects blood sugar, changes should be gradual and supervised. Expect discomfort during the first few days. Headaches, fatigue, and cravings are signs of adaptation, not damage. Do not expect dramatic weight loss. Most early changes are internal. Reduced liver fat, calmer insulin responses, and less visceral fat signaling. The mirror follows later. Most importantly, do not return to constant sugar exposure after day 7. That reverses the signal immediately. The goal is awareness, not perfection. Sugar does not just add sweetness. It programs how your liver and fat tissue behave. When sugar disappears, even briefly, the body does not panic. It recalibrates. The liver shifts from storage to regulation. Insulin quiets down. Visceral fat stops receiving constant protection signals. This is not about willpower. It is about removing noise. If this video helped you understand why sugar matters beyond calories, share your experience in the comments. What changed for you when sugar disappeared? Subscribe if you want more science-based explanations without extremes. And in the next video, you will learn why some sugar-free foods still block fat loss. Your body was not addicted to sugar. It was overloaded by it.